A new update for PR researches is coming in about a week or so. That's right, a new update is only announced in Japan as of right now. EN is probably gonna get theirs probably like later this week or something, but it is announced. It is announced. Now, I can talk about this because they added quite a lot of changes to this update. So the first of many is going to be that they're adding missions. So if you guys remember like the standard like starter exams or whatever, like do this, do that, and you get the stuff. Basically, we had this for season 1. They're gonna give us prints for these. I believe it's like a decent chunk of it. I think it's like what, 30, 40, 50, 60. I can't remember. It was like a good handful amount for SSR prints that you can use for just those ships. There's 4 SSR ships in PR2: Georgia, Gascon, Seattle, and KimoCheese. So you can probably burn through this really fast and probably get like one of those ships like a sizable amount of upgrades. Because there's only 4 of them, so you don't need that many. But hey, it helps out, right? A big takeaway here is I'm not sure exactly how many UR prints they're giving from this. I think the picture here says that it's giving about 30 away. But yeah, you can get about 30 UR prints from this exam tag minimum. They're probably gonna give out more or whatever. You can buy them from the shop as well. So 30 is not much. It's about what, like 3% of how much you need for Ozma and FTG to get them developer 30s. So it's not much, but 3% is a free 3%, dude. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. So free prints there. The second is we have PR2 Catchup. Now they show easy mode as of right here, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're having like one of those like seasonal, like not seasonal, like monthly rotations. Like here's some catch-up prints for PR2 ships or whatever. But it's just gonna be Georgia or whatever. I think it's for SSR ships. If they do UR ships here, that'll be very impressive. I'll be very impressed if they do UR ships here. But at the bare minimum, expect probably Georgia, Seattle, KimoCheese, and Gascon to be on this rotation. If they do FTG and Azuma though, I'll be very impressed, but probably won't be much, probably be like 10 or something. But 10 is not bad. It's not bad at all. Next, we have fake simulation 5s for PR3 ships, I believe here. Since there is no Drake, and we have the DR ship is less than sign, there's going to be no Drake here. Fate Simulation 5s for Cheshire, Champagne, Odin, and Mines. Now, will FDG and Osmo get Fate Sim 5s? It hasn't been announced yet, so I assume no, because I guess they figured out that getting like another 200 or so prints for the DR ships kind of keck, because that already takes a long time in general. So they're probably gonna skip on that. And next, we have the PR1 system. So if you guys don't already know, the PR1, as of right now, you can get them from researches. Like you can get, you can get some PR1 researches in the tabs here. So what's happening is they're gonna remove PR1 from researches. So now, instead of going from 1 through 4 on researches that we gotta shuffle through, it's just 2 through 4 now. So RNG is still there, but it's not as bad. It's not as bad because they took out 1 season, but it's still bad because there's RNG for when it comes to researchers and whatnot. And if you guys do researchers a lot, you guys know how much of a pain it is to siphon through all those and get the ones you want. So removing that, and what they're doing is they're adding a system where you can buy upgrades for ships with coins. So because of this update, you're gonna get less prints overall, but you should be able to progress without having to like time gate yourself too much. So what I mean by this is that if, let's say you're a new player and you're working on researches 2 through 4, right? Because that's what's available as of right now. You can pay with coins if you have spare coins, which is very rare. Upgrades for like Rune, Monarch, Neptune, and stuff, and so forth. This update, honestly, I believe is very bad Because the people that are really missing PR1 at this point are the ones that are new players. New players are missing PR1. And if you're a new player, you're going to need coins, as much of them as possible. So it's going to be a pain. So if you want to like finish a certain ship or whatever, it's going to take quite some time to get all those coins in. And let's say by the time you, like a year later, you'll probably get a handful done. It's not too terrible, but again, coins are really a big hassle to work with if you're like effectively just doing researches all day and limit breaking and awakening and not cats, because I don't recommend doing that. You're gonna burn on coins a lot. So I'm not a big fan of this system, but I like it in the sense that you can theoretically do 2 researches at once now. You can do whatever you're focusing on, 2, 3, or 4, and you can toss in coins for PR1. So theoretically, you're working on 2 researches at once now, if you're really that far behind, which is not bad. The issue is that it uses coins, which is the biggest resource in this game, because you need it for pretty much everything when it comes to progression. So, not that big of a fan of it, but I like it in the sense that it removes time gate or whatever, so not too terrible. The next one is they changed D missions. So in this case right here, we have my favorite D missions, because they're giving guaranteed prints for whatever you're targeting. So in this case, they're using Kitakazi. You get a guaranteed Kitakazi, but I don't like it because they're nerfing the overall amounts. So let's say back then you did like a Kitakazi 5-hour, right? You'll get like two Kitakazi prints, 1 Georgia, 1 gas cone, something like that. Now they're probably gonna do something like you get 2 or 3, or probably like 3 Kitakazis and nothing else. Probably like the gear prints and that's nothing else. So you get 1 more Kitakazi, which is good, but you're getting less overall. You're getting 3 total versus 4 because you're getting gas cone and Georgia in my example. So why this is bad is, if you're new to a season and you want to get all of them developer 30s, it's gonna be harder. It's gonna be a lot harder doing this specific method. So I'm gonna have to change things up on how I want to do things. I'll probably make a guide about this next week or whatever. But what's difficult about this is that you're getting less prints overall, but you're getting more focused on them. So the people that really benefits from this are players that are like, let's go with PR2, right? Let's go to PR2. And you're the kind of player that's like, oh, I have Georgia developer 30, and I have Seattle at developer 30s because I love USS. But Kitakazi and Gascon are like developer like 10 or whatever, right? These are the players that benefit from the D update, because now they can focus on Kitakazi and Gascon specifically and get more prints for them, but you don't need Georgia or Seattle anymore because those are done already. But if you're a player that's missing you're missing all of them, Seattle, Gascon, Kitakazi, and Seattle, Georgia, Kitakazi, and Gascon, you'll want all of them. You'll want as many prints as possible. That's the bad part about the D update. So to me, because I'm going into a new season, like some people are, PR4, and there's 3 SSR ships, I want to get as many prints as possible. But with the new update with D, they're changing that in the sense that you're not going to get as many prints overall, but you get more for the face missions or whatever. So it may be a buff for the URs because you get less overall for UR prints in general, and you really don't need that many SSR prints compared to UR prints. So for face D missions, for URs, I guess it could be okay. I gotta look at it once the missions come out next week, and I do them to see how they actually really are. It could be a beneficial update overall. But if they're exactly what I said, like you get less prints overall, then kind of skeptical and whatnot. But I'll wait until next week to be the judge of that, honestly though. But for my CS right now, not bad if you're one of those players that I said earlier, that you focus on specific ships and now you want other ships to be developer 30s. But you get less overall prints, which is pretty bad, because you're going to need prints for all ships if you're going for all season developer 30s. Now, the last one here is I have no idea what they're talking about here, but I guess you can buy Fate Simulation 5s now. I think I talked about this in the other thing already. You can buy prints now, assuming you have developer 30s already. You can buy for 1,500 each now or something, I believe. Because the first one talked about having um you can buy your developer prints, right? For 1 through 30 developer 30s. And I think the last one talks about having like you can buy Face Sim 5s or whatever and whatnot. Also, one thing I want to mention about these, someone did say that once you max a ship, max developer ship, or max Fate Sim 5s, you don't get D missions for those anymore. So I'm really, really curious because if a ship is developer 30 or whatever, and you don't get D missions for those anymore, that's kind of a nerf if you want to get that ship to Fate Sim 5. But I guess it works for older seasons because it's already there. But yeah, whatever. Anyways, but yeah, you can buy prints now for PR1. That's pretty much the gist of it. 1,500 coins each. You're gonna need a lot of coins, and that's pretty much it. Additional notes I want to talk about that some other people mentioned. Stag Bofers from PR1. Because they're moving missions, now they're in PR4 now. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. The one of the best AAs in the game as of right now, Stag Bofers, are now available in PR4 near you. Pretty cool. Also, for PR2 Catchup prints, now the translations here have been very wonky, but from what I've understood, it is 300 normal blueprints for SSRs overall. So 300 to whatever ship you want. You can split it at like 75 with Georgia Gascon, which we call for PR2 ships. And it is 150 each for Azur and FDG. So 300 UR prints total for UR ships. But it's 150 each for FDG and Azur Max, which is very good. That is about 30% of the prints you need to get both FDG and Azuma to developer 30, which is very good. 30% of the work right there. That's about maybe 2 or 3 months of researches that you save in coins and whatnot because of this catch-up update, which is very solid. Very solid. And the last note I want to talk about is that they added a way to get the 457 now in the whatchamacallit shop, the prototype shop, we'll call it the prototype shop. Now you can get these things. Now it's not as easy because depending on what kind of value they give for this, it could be quite expensive. The example they use here is one full gun for 10,000 of those things. If you guys don't know already, one SSR print gives 5, and you need 10,000. Which means you need 2,000 leftover prints to make one full gun from scratch. Now, this is probably a fixed value that they just threw down there, or like a random value they threw down there. If it's 10,000 though, honestly, that's reasonable in the sense that if you're very dedicated and you're like a whale or some sort, you can honestly brute force a 457 gun in about a month. Because you can probably get, if you're very consistent with your researches, you can get 457 print, or 457 prints. No, you get 40 PR research prints in a day. If you're super dedicated and you're probably like on the whale end, which like doing 1 hour cubes and whatnot, you can get 40 prints a day. And you need 2,000 to get this gun going by this value they have right here of a 10,000, assuming they're going to go with the value 10,000. You can get it. You can get a gun done in 50 days, which is about a month and a half. But if you're very dedicated, you can probably get it way earlier than that. 1 to 2 months for a 457 gun is very good because, like I said before, if you're consistent, it takes about 5 months to get one 457 gun. So 1 to 2 months for one gun is very solid. But it's only for leftover prints that you have that you can convert over to the 457. Remember, guys, when the update drops next week, most of us, I hope, are working on PR4, which means we won't have leftover prints for whatever, right? And because there's 2 DR ships in PR4, a good chunk of us are going to be there for about 8-9 months, probably to the casual people out there, probably like a year plus. Don't expect to get this gun anytime soon, but they have an option now. If you really want to sacrifice your progression in like other seasons to get this 457 gun, then go for it. But again, this update is coming out with a new season, and most of us are going to be working on this new season, so we're not going to have time to work on the 457. It's going to take a while before most of us are going to get the pity gun from the shop, so keep that in mind. But I do like it in the fact that they have more options now to get this gun, aside from just throwing my RNG and my sanity and my time away and just logging in every single time, like every hour to 4 hours, doing researches for gear and not getting anything. Yeah, this update helps with that. Anyways, I believe that covers pretty much everything about this upcoming PR research things. I'm gonna wait for the full translations as well, and I can make a proper video next week. But from what I see as of right now, this update is nothing too crazy. For newer players out there, it doesn't help too much because PR1 now is used with coins, and you need coins to progress. Not to mention, you also got to work on 2, 3, and 4 as well if you're going to be a kind of player that wants to focus on everything. It doesn't really help out much there. But if you're a whale, you spend your gems on coins or whatnot. You have no issues with that. You spend your gems on cubes, coins, and whatnot. This should help you catch up. Assuming you are a whale, you're a new player, this should help catch up. So PR1 should be knocked out of the parkway, and you can work on your other seasons. Now, if you're like a mediocre player, an old player that doesn't do too much or care too much about the game, this update doesn't really change too much. Instead of researchers being 1, 2, and 3 now, we have 2, 3, and 4 for those. D missions got nerfed, but they have a reasonable amount of catch-up prints added in the game, so you can get a sizable amount of progression done for those that are still lacking in PR2, which is not bad at all. And if you're a veteran player and you're done with all your seasons, you just work on PR4, and by the time you're done with PR4, assuming the gear isn't that good in PR4, like whatever the UR gear is they add for PR4, or the other gear they add into the system, whatever, is not that great, then you can use your time after you're done with PR4 to farm for SSR prints and whatnot, go back to PR2, and you can just toss away all your leftover prints and whatnot and slowly work on that pity 457, and that's pretty much it. So that was a lot to talk about. Again, this update is new. I have no experience with it, and I'm going to make a proper video next week. But I'm very interested in seeing how there's a catch-up now for UR guns, which is pretty cool. And the funny part about this whole coin system with PR1, because, again, it's okay if you're a whale, but if you're a new player, kind of difficult on catching up with PR1 and whatnot and so forth. Anyways, enjoy the video, guys, and as always, remember, same as last year, just play at your own pace. It is permanent content. Enjoy.